and welcome to day number 6 of the TT Lock-In, fueled by Monster Energy. Two living legends of the sport coming up on tonight's TT Lock-In Live with Michael Rutter and John McGuinness. And talking of John McGuinness, later on in the show, we're going to revisit each and every one of his 23 TT wins in John McGuinness TT Winner. But first up, another episode of the Ultimate TT Races presented by Bennetts. This time, we're going back to the year 2000 for the Formula 1 TT.
The first race of TT 2000 is the Duke Formula 1, with last year's winner David Jeffries fastest in practice and hot favourite for a repeat win. But as the riders prepared for the start, the clouds of practice week still hung over the island, clustering around the 2,000-foot summit of Snae Fell. These conditions suit the TT maestro best of all. With 23 wins to his credit, Joey Dunlop is the man who can read the road surface best, and who might just be able to write another chapter of TT legend. Quiet and understated as usual, he wouldn't commit himself before the start of the event.
Joey, how are you feeling about things today?
Oh, all right. Depends on this weather, I think. Just keep our fingers crossed.
It seems to have cleared. The sun is shining for the first time.
Landed on this morning onto the boat, and so we thought there'd be no race run today, but things have changed. And I just hope it does go on, because they put 2 or 3 of them all after each other. It's a bit much.
And how happy are you with the setup of this special factory Honda?
Oh, it seems to be all right there. Last night the mirror was wet. I did half a lap in the dry, and things seem to be all right. Sorted out.
Good luck today.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks, Joey.
6 laps then of the TT course for the Formula 1 boys. First off, the number 1 bike, Ian Locker, the Welshman, on the Yamaha 1000 Temple auto salvage machine, ready to blast off, and away we go then. The Formula 1 is underway. The first race on the card for TT Race Week. Locker down the road. 2 is Nigel Davis on the Flinic Yamaha R1, and he too gets a flyer. Nigel Davis, big lad. Now then, Joey Dunlop. Joey Dunlop on the Works Engined SP1, and really Honda finally pulled out the muscle, didn't they, Jules?
But the pressure's on Joey this time, Keith. He said the Fireblade couldn't do it. There's an OK Joey. Here's a Works engine. He hasn't won a Formula 1 TT since 1988. He's 48 years old, and the pressure is really on this time.
Down the bottom of Bray Hill. Here's your man, Joey Dunlop then. That is a famous helmet on a famous mark. Formula 1, of course, well, a big sequence of Formula 1 races was broken by Yamaha last year. Joey's looking to regain some honour there. John McGuinness on the Vimto Honda. So John McGuinness, well, we look back down the track now. Ian Duffus on a Honda Fireblade, this one from Glen Rose then. So Duffus away. Next up, number 6, that's Gary Dines, the Ulsterman, on a YZR 500. So 2-stroke, first of the 2 strokes out on the track. Through and up and over Bray Hill comes Ian Duffus. This is Duffus dropping down the hill now at Quarter Bridge. Nice and gentle on the opening lap. Full tank of fuel. Oh dear me, Gary Dines making that little lightweight 500 bike jump all over the track.
Here's Michael Rutter next off on number 7.
And down into the braking area for the first time. The little shop on the left. Yep, on the gas then. No smoke from that. Number 8 next, Blair Deggerholm. So Blair Deggerholm on the Kawasaki ZX7 I should say.
You should.
Wilson's and Collins bike from New Zealand. Oh, great pictures.
Lovely stuff.
Through the left, then the right of Braddon Bridge.
Look at the sunshine as well.
Yeah, gorgeous, isn't it? Loads of people stood by the side at Braddon Bridge. Number 7, that is Michael Rutter.
It's the V&M colours.
Come on, Michael. And another number 9 going down. David Jeffries on another V&M motorcycle.
Hat-trick last year,
yeah, he's got to be a bit of a favourite this year as well. David Jeffries, Big Dave.
Yep,
he isn't anymore.
Yes, he's lost a bit of weight. Give the R1 more advantage. Number 11, James Courtney.
Jimmy Courtney on a Ducati 996, so did Undrod MSR 996. While we look at David Jeffries, gently done then. 6 laps, a long way, 226.38 miles to be absolutely precise.
See the body language there of Jim Moody on the start as we cut back to Jason Griffiths.
Jason Griffiths, he's on the Cowles Yamaha, the Ray Cowles Racing 1000cc R1. Oh, 11, Jimmy Courtney. Yep,
Will the Duke get...
I love Duke
Lovely
caddies.
sound.
16, Adrian Archibald on the Dowd Honda 900, the CD Racing Honda Britain. Man riding the Ballymoney, from Ballymoney I should say. 13 goes through. Buell Duncan.
Another Fireblade.
It's another Northern Ireland rider as well, so more Ulstermen out here as ever.
And
Look at this,
the weather allowing us great onboard.
Oh!
Hello, David.
Yes, goodbye, David. So David Jeffries well on his way on bike number 9. Started 9 on the road.
Looks like the Vimto Honda coming through. It's not the
I
Vimto,
don't
it's
think so.
Locker.
Locker on the Temple Auto Salvage Yamaha, to be precise.
Yeah, wrong bike, wrong bike. Well done, Julian. Good start.
Number 1 on the road. And number 1 on the bike. We're on board now with Nigel Cap Davis. This is on the Flitwick Yamaha R1. He is number 2 on the road. And at the moment, he's out in Black Dub now then. Oh, there he is. He's been caught by Joey Dunlop. So Joey Dunlop's already with him. Dunlop right there. So this is Glen Helen, and we'll be able to get the times in a moment just to see how much Joey Dunlop has made up. And according to yes, Joey Dunlop leads. Joey Dunlop is the leader at Glen Helen with David Jeffries in second place.
Here's a no end to the man's talent, Joey Dunlop. Oh, that's a great shot.
Yeah, Cap Davis giving us a bit of a wheelie, moved his weight backwards. Up and over the top then. Oh, done a big wheelie over onto Crockett-Body. This is a famous part of the TT course.
I can remember when it was even more bumpy.
I was going to say, it's bumpy enough as it is.
Oh, Joey.
Hello, Joey. So Joey goes through then along Crockett-Body. And Davis nearly lands on him. Joey Dunlop is on some kind of a mission. He led at Glen Helen from David Jeffries by 2 seconds. Michael Rutter was third, another second down. Then it's Locker, the man that's number 1 on the road, who's in 4th place at Glen Helen.
That's Ian Duffers coming through now. And Joey's amazing, isn't he? It's the no-name bends in this part of the track that he takes time out of people on. He's amazing.
Perfect conditions for Joey. Well, it's been a while since he's won on a superbike. This is a superbike. Aaron Slight's works engine in this. It's a bit of a hybrid motorcycle for the TT. Honda slightly criticised for not putting down the right kind of power here for the works boys.
Here we are heading for Baloff. Oh, here's Joey, and behind him, trying to keep up, Nigel Cap Davis.
Yep, still on lap 1 then. Joey Dunlop is your race leader at the moment. Nigel Davis on bike number 2. Well, he's not even on my top 6 leaderboard at Glen Helen, so Davis dropping back. Here is the man that was in second place at Glen Helen, David Jeffries then, bike number 9. Chased hard by the Kawasaki man there.
That's Blair Daggerholm, I assume.
Bennetts Rewards is the place for our customers to go, really to help them get more from motorcycling. To get discounts on kit, equipment, they can get access to unique and money can't buy experiences.
From new riders to inexperienced riders, across the board, what we're trying to do is create a sense of community and something for everyone.
As a Bennetts customer, you get free access to Bennetts Rewards as part of your policy, and you can access that through My Account, or you can register, and that only takes about 2 minutes to go through that whole registration process.
Hosting track days this year at MS3 venues. You have instructors on circuit to look after you, 2 classroom sessions, so you'll learn stuff throughout the day.
We've got over 100 rewards now on the site, something for all riders. So if you're a commuter rider, tourer, sports rider, new to motorcycling.
New for this year as well is Bennetts Rider Confidence Days. They're basic training skills, off-track training events.
Also the place to go to get free information, free legal advice, hints and tips about riding.
Exclusive discounts, money can't buy experiences, incredible competitions. But if you're not insured with Bennetts, you can also get access to Bennetts Rewards by taking out a yearly subscription. There's something for everyone on Bennetts Rewards.
Here we go. John McGuinness, number 4. John McGuinness. McGuinness at Glen Helen was in 5th place. We're through Kurt Michael now. So Kurt Michael, some 14 miles out.
Well, dust coming up there from the concrete dust that's been put on a spill as Dave Jeffries looking really mean and businesslike hammers through.
Yeah, you don't get a bigger family apart from the Dunlops, of course, out in the TT than the Jeffries. Through Milltown then. bit of dust off. You can see it's well, I'll tell you what, that looks a bit slippy to me through there.
Bit too damp and cool.
Well, that's where Joey Dunlop is at his best,
Absolutely.
isn't it? Being able to pick all the patches around this track. He knows exactly where they lie.
Here's Jim Moody.
Now then, Jim Moody. No man more determined anywhere in the world when it comes to racing motorcycles than Jim Moody. 4 is John McGuinness. McGuinness kicks up some of the dust on his slightly lower... Oh, dear me, out by the curb there. Well, he wasn't that far out by the curb.
The Duke still going...
Oh, well, going past already, Yule Duncan. So Yule Duncan on a Robinson Honda has been taken by Jim Moody. Here he is, number 5. That's Ian Duffus. Oh, go on, Ian. Looking back down the track.
Just a few shakes.
Oh, and he's being caught big time now by 7. Michael Rutter. Rutter at home at the TT. Looking back across the mountain to try and pick it up. Almost perfect conditions, I've got to say, here today for the Formula 1 race.
Yep, so lucky with the weather. British summer hasn't been wonderful so far, but the Isle of Man really enjoying...
Today, anyway.
Oh dear, I held my breath there. Is that Joey closing him down?
Funny you should say that. It is the
that
number
Joey?
1 bloke.
It is Joey closing Locker down
I'm
already.
glad you managed to focus there, Jules. So, catching him, Joey Dunlop on the road. He was the leader at Ramsey, and he raised his lead over David Jeffries to 6 seconds at Ramsey hairpin.
Joey doesn't feel pressure, does he? It doesn't exist in his mind.
And there is David Jeffries. I tell you what, David Jeffries is certainly on the go there. So Jeffries remarkably behind at the moment as they come over the mountain then at Ramsey. Dunlop led Jeffries by 6 seconds. Rutter was only a second back on his teammate for this week anyway. Jeffries, Cap Davies was up to 4th place, 7 seconds back on Rutter. Duffus was in 5th, 3 seconds adrift, and McGuinness is in 6th place. So John McGuinness having a good ride round here, good TT man. Joey Dunlop, his hero, of course, as well, which is an interesting fact.
Yeah, good showing for the V-twin Hondas as well in their first TT.
So, through the right-hander, this is Joey Dunlop catching Ian Locker on the road. He doesn't need to bother around him too much. Of course, Joey knows that, absolutely. Locker started number 1 on the road. We are coming to the end of lap 1.
Look at him closing down.
Joey Dunlop closing up on the R1 Yamaha in front of him. While we look back along the veranda, this is John McGuinness. John McGuinness looks to me like he's being caught big time now by... Yep, Michael Rutter, I would think that must be.
If it's number 7, it's Rutter, and it should be Rutter. That looks like the tall, thin figure of Michael Rutter on that R1.
Taking his time as we come to the bungalow, over the tram lines then, and up Halewood Rise.
Great aerial shots.
Rutter chasing McGuinness. And look at the crowd up on the mountain as well. There's a huge crowd around here. That is a great sight.
And
Cregna Bar. So down into the Craig, no time to stop at the bar. There's a new marquee there as well, big crowd. Well, they all get serviced pretty well there as we look down. Rutter now in front.
Yeah, a classic TT move at the Craig. Fastest part of the course going down to Brandywell. Back up on the mountain, David Jeffries comes through.
Yeah, Big Dave on the move, so Big Dave heading out towards the bungalow.
Behind him, that is Gary Dines on number 6.
Gary Dines, he was 3rd in the 125s last year. Hometown Maryland in Northern Ireland, so he knows his way round here too.
Yet another Ulsterman showing well in the F1 TT.
Up over the tram lines, on to Halewood Rise, behind you. Here we are, straight through then, leading on the road. Joey Dunlop, your man, he leads over the line, and Joey Dunlop has passed number 1. The guy who started first was Ian Locker. So Dunlop surely on some kind of special mission here on the Superbike, and I can't wait to see what the situation is when we've got them all across the line on corrected time.
I'm looking forward to the shot of him going down Bray Hill as well.
This is Cap Davis we're on board with at the moment, coming over the line then, past the grandstand now, over the St Ninians Crossroads.
That is so quick.
That's just here, down the hill towards Bray Hill. Oh my God, this looks so smooth from Cap Davis, and the bottom of Bray Hill. Then it's the bounce up the hill, big wheelie over the top. Yes, thank you. And down towards Water Bridge now. So
you could just feel the suspension compress, couldn't you, as you watch that? Scary stuff.
Joey Dunlop leads at the grandstand. We're waiting to see what the corrected times will be as he goes over Braddon Bridge. Got a bit of time to wait until the computer clicks it all up over Braddon Bridge. Then here comes number 7. That is Michael Rutter. And Michael Rutter is in 2nd place. Michael Rutter having 2nd place at the moment. McGuinness is in 3rd place. This is McGuinness. He is in 3rd place. That's Braddon Bridge now that he's crossed over. But McGuinness has moved up into 2nd place. You saw him going past Cap Davis there, Nigel Davis. He's just got by. There is... that is Jeffries, indeed, David Jeffries, and he is behind by 5 seconds from McGuinness. Oh, dear me, sort this lot out. So at the grandstand, Dunlop leads. from Michael Rutter. Michael Rutter is right there on Dunlop's time though. They both did at 121 mile an hour laps from a standing start on the opening lap here. McGuinness is in third place, Jeffries is fourth, Jim Moody's up to fifth, Ian Locker has dropped back to sixth place. Incredible opening lap for the Formula One then.
48 years old and Joey Dunlop leads again on the Isle of Man. I remind you, 1988, the last time he won a Formula One TT.
Oh, look at the crowds. They've heard it on the tannoy already. Exactly what's going on here. Oh, that bike sounds completely different from the other SP1s that we've heard as well. It might.
Yeah, it's the Works Superbike engine versus the kit engine.
And here is the kit engine of John McGuinness. He was in third place at the grandstand, so McGuinness having a great ride here. He was only 4 seconds down on Dunlop, the leader, at the grandstand after a whole 37 3/4 miles of this opening lap.
Rutter doing his normal workmanlike job on the R1.
He was only 3/10 of a second down on Joey. Only
3/10.
Absolutely.
We have a race on.
And Jeffries there, well, he slipped to fourth. He was 9 seconds behind Dunlop, so he lost 9 seconds to Dunlop over the top of the course. Here is Dunlop.
Before the race, we thought the only man who might challenge this man, Joey Dunlop, would be Jeffries, given his form last year.
That'll teach us.
It will indeed. And John McGuinness going so well. We think of him as a two-stroke man, but he is not putting that superbike round here well.
He's going particularly good, as is, David Jeffries then on the Pirelli shod V&M Yamaha. That is significant, of course. Pirelli's working very, very good in the TT.
Always have put some effort into the island, Pirelli, as Rutter goes through second at our last time check.
So, up on the mountain, Joey Dunlop then at the bungalow. Now then, at Ramsey, Dunlop led Jeffries. Jeffries on lap 2 had managed to get up behind Dunlop. 6 seconds adrift of Dunlop, Jeffries was at Ramsey. Rutter had dropped to third. McGuinness held on to fourth. Locker had got in front of Moody for fifth. Moody is in sixth place, some 34 seconds behind Dunlop. There's the gooseneck. Going up the mountain now, climbing up the hill. Joey Dunlop's helmet waits for him. He's going to pit at the end of lap 2. There's Robert Dunlop to the left of your picture with a characteristic cowboy hat. He's into the stop box then for the first time at the TT under racing speeds. Joey drifts in. No drama from Joey, is he? He's nice and gentle, knows what he's got to do. Davey Wood, looks like we've got the back of Davey Wood's head here. Yes, we have. Thank you, Davey, for getting in shot. Jeff Cannell meanders around, tries to get a few things in. He's going to get a punch if he does that too often. Joey Dunlop floods himself with whatever liquid he's got in that bottle today.
Don't say anything.
Meanwhile, in comes Locker into the stop box on bike number 1 and number 4. That is John McGuinness. Now we wait for corrected times to come through. Remember, at the Ramsey hairpin. Dunlop led Jeffries from Rutter, McGuinness, Locker and Moody.
And Dunlop is first out of the pit stop.
Indeed, so the clock will stop. This is Craig Nabar, dropping into Craig Nabar.
Is that a famous sight or what?
Indeed.
And this is a scary sight. This is the fastest bit of the circuit.
Dropping all the way down the hill, just pulling the gears, hooking them all away as fast as you can. In comes 2, that's Nigel Davies. 7 is Michael Rutter. So the V&M Yamaha boy pulls in as well. Rutter was in 3rd place at Ramsey.
Now that's McGuinness on the right of the picture, taking a bit of time.
Yeah, John McGuinness, he's a seasoned TT man, even though he's still very, very young. Here is your man, Joey Dunlop, gently easing it away. No dramas at all. Quick polish up for Dave. And the gravity-fed fuel dropping in nice and slowly. I'm always quite thankful for that, not dumping it all in there. These guys get a bit of time to check tyres, check the bikes, and the restriction is how fast you can get the fuel in. So the stun gun puts on another wheel for Dave Jeffries. Dave looks under his armpit to check it's all going okay. Gets a big shove down pit lane. Jeff Cannell gets in our way, and off goes David Jeffries. This is, though, Rutter.
But it's Jeffries of the V&M boys who is the man on the charge after a relatively slow start.
Here we go. This is Ian Duffus.
What's going on
happening
here?
with Duffus here? Ian Duffus is in trouble. That it doesn't look like he can get it. Well, yeah, he would have stalled it because he hadn't started it yet. He's only just took fuel on, so he's having a go. I don't think that bike will go. So for some strange reason, he's out of there. Ian Duffus is pulled to the left of the pits. That's the end of his race. So the Scotsman is going to be so unhappy. The TT means such a lot to him, but wife Louisa will be relieved that his race has ended in pits rather than anywhere else around this track. 4, McGuinness. Now then, take a look at the grandstand, at the pit stops. Dunlop leads by half a second from Jeffries. Can you believe that?
He's on the move.
McGuinness is up to 3rd place. Rutter is now 4th. Moody 5th. Locker 6th. That's the top 6 at the grandstand at the end of lap 2. And as they pitted in, look at this, it's like a short circuit scratch.
Spectators getting full value for money, and is there a big crowd here? It's like the old days, Keith. There's a massive crowd.
We're on lap 3 then of the opening race of TT Week. Joey Dunlop leads on the Honda Superbike. That will bring a big smile on Bob McMillan's face.
And Joey has led at every time check we've had since they first went off on the start of lap 1.
Indeed, right the way from Glen Helen on lap 1, all the way round. Joey Dunlop has been dominant. There have been various people that have challenged him as far as times are concerned, but Joey consistently has put the time in. Coming into Ramsey.
First on the roads, first on corrected time.
So the Demon Vimto Honda, even though it's a red bike, it is a Demon Vimto entered Honda with help from Honda Britain and of course the Works boys as well. This is the official Demon Vimto Paul Bird Motorsport motorcycle ridden by John McGuinness.
That's their normal rider in British short circuit racing, of course.
But on the 250s, of course, not on a superbike. Normally James Tozen rides this machine, so James doesn't do the TT, not yet anyway. Here we are, Joey Dunlop in front of the fans. I mean, there is no man that is a bigger legend than this boy.
This is the man they came to see, Keith.
23 TT wins. In 2nd place, as far as TT wins are concerned, is none other than Mike Hailwood with 14.
Yes.
Not a lot of men can say something like that in their resume.
Dunlop, a legend, an absolute legend, and the pressure was on him for this. Having done the complaining about the Fireblade, he had to deliver in this race.
Ramsey Square then. Through Ramsey now. Quick left, gas it up towards Mayhill. Mayhem at Mayhill. It was when I was riding anyway. Oh, dear me. Quick look at the bridge there as we get the onboard camera that flashes up the bridge. Nothing better than enjoying your motorcycling while taking on a pint. 12 is Jim Moody, the Scot. Tough Glaswegian.
He's on the official Fireblade as opposed to the V-twin SP1.
Joey Dunlop, leader of the race, leader on the road. This is the end of lap 4 into the stop box. He came in there with a bit more meaning as far as the brakes were concerned. So Dunlop then, well...
stalled it.
Oh dear.
Had to restart. Oh dear, that was near. They have a starter motor on these, of course.
Yep, otherwise it blows the clutch apart. So Joey Dunlop in then, but he only had a 1.5 second lead over David Jeffries at Ramsey, of course. We're now at the grandstand on lap 4. So we've got to wait until Jeffries comes in, Rutter comes in and McGuinness comes in. That was the order at Ramsey. Dunlop led by 1.5 from Jeffries. Rutter was 28 seconds down on Jeffries in 3rd place. Oh, good pit there, though, for Joey Dunlop. Straight in and straight out.
With a new rear tyre in.
Yeah, so he is... he might have lost a little bit on the stall in the stop box, a tiny weeny fraction of a second.
Keith.
But he's straight back there over the St Ninians Crossroads and down Bray Hill now. Comes to the bottom of Bray Hill any second. Bounces back then up over Aggo's Leap. Oh, dear me, great stuff. Now then, Cap Davies gives us some more great onboard pictures. Nigel Cap Davies. Down on through the left. Dropping down the mountainside, heading down towards Cronknimona. Just listen to that.
I'm listening to the rev limit.
Well, that's a Flitwick Yamaha R1, and the Welshman through the right then, heading out now towards signpost et al. As we get McGuinness coming in with David Jeffries. This is going to be interesting. Remember, lap 4.
This is going to be close.
At the last time check, Dunlop, Jeffries, Rutter and McGuinness were your top 4. Moody was 5th, Locker was 6th. That was at Ramsey. They're at the grandstand now, some of them, so our corrected times will be coming through. Out of Quarter Bridge is Joey Dunlop. We're looking at Joey Dunlop. No time to stop at that particular pub either. Now we're at Braddon. Gently through, new rear tyre on his Demon Vimto Honda with Aaron Slight Works power. Meanwhile, it is Jeffries in pit lane getting a new rear tyre. In front of him, it's McGuinness. Who's going to get out of here first? It is important.
They came in absolutely together, and Jeffries' pit gets him going a fraction before McGuinness. They leave pit lane together, Keith.
Grandstand pit stop number 2 at the end of lap 4. This is now a sprint to the finish. There is Rutter, so Rutter goes out as well. And corrected time, David Jeffries leads by half a second from Joey Dunlop at the grandstand. Michael Rutter is 3rd. He is something like 36 seconds further back. Then it's McGuinness in 4th, Moody in 5th and Locker in 6th. But the big news is Jeffries has taken over Dunlop at the head of the field here. This is Jim Moody now in pit lane. He is in 5th place on corrected time, but superbly it is Jeffries that's putting up a fight with Joey Dunlop. Wow.
The first time Joey has been headed on corrected time all race. 6 laps, don't forget, for the F1. Here's Joey. He'll have the signals. He'll know what's going on.
Well, I think he won't know exactly just yet because his signalling point he won't have reached as far as the grandstand times are concerned. So we wait to look as he goes over Ballig Bridge.
That's Jeffries.
Jeffries has stopped.
That's Jeffries.
Well, I'll tell you what. Are you sure?
Absolutely,
David Jeffries.
It's David.
Well, that's remarkable eyesight you've got there, Julian, I must say, because David Jeffries out of this race then. Well, he led it at the grandstand. At least he can say that he was heading when he went out.
Yeah, well, that's... dear me, that's obviously a mechanical failure.
Oh,
Can anyone challenge Joey?
Not if he's in that mood.
Exactly. Would David have kept ahead of him if he's in that mood?
There he is. That is David Jeffries' bike. Well, confirmation there, as if I actually needed it. Sorry to doubt you there, Julian.
Right position on the road, Keith.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So then we look at John McGuinness. McGuinness, well, that moves him up a place. He's gone up to 3rd place then, McGuinness. You're not going to correct me on that, are you?
Where's Rutter?
We wait and see whether Rutter's had the same fate as Jeffries.
I
wouldn't think so with the VNL. Oh, here he is. No, he's going brilliantly.
You're absolutely right.
Rutter absolutely flying well. Michael Rutter got a bit to make up as well. He was 36 seconds down when I last looked at the grandstand. All right, up towards Ramsey hairpin then. There's Locker. Locker was 6th. He's now 5th with the demise of Jeffries. This is Rutter.
It is a worry when your teammate obviously has a mechanical failure. You do worry as if the identical bike you're riding might do the same, but no sign so far.
Flying lap time then straight through. Joey Dunlop 171 miles an hour through the speed trap past the grandstand, and he's still accelerating.
That's the fastest time they've clocked today.
Well, it's the opening day of racing, and Joey with that Works motor making it work.
Dear me.
Over the line goes McGuinness then, down towards the St Ninians Crossroads. Joey Dunlop already on his way to winning his 24th TT, and it's going to be a superbike one if he can manage that. 12 there is Jim Moody.
You think Dave Jeffries annoyed him a bit?
Right, at the end of lap 5, which is what they were just on, Dunlop led by 52 seconds from Rutter in 3rd place. McGuinness another 22 seconds further back. Locker up to 4th place, 54 seconds down on McGuinness.
Here's
Moody
Locker.
2 seconds down on Locker, so Moody could still take Locker back. And Jason Griffiths, who is a little way behind Moody, in fact over a minute behind Moody, in 6th place. So it is Dunlop, Rutter, McGuinness, Locker, Moody, Griffiths as they cross the line at the grandstand. There's Joey's board.
He gets 2 pints for being that far ahead, obviously.
We are on lap 6. This is Ramsey hairpin. Nice and gentle, Joey. He doesn't burn it out up there,
He doesn't. No need. He makes up his time on the fast, no-name corners.
Here's Moody. So Moody got a bit of work to do there. 55 is Thomas Nolting.
And there we're back with John McGuinness on the Vimto Honda, heading for a rostrum, Keith.
Did that bike sound strange then to me? No. I'll tell you what, that
tyre.
Yeah, the tyre looked like it got a few chunks out of it, but it obviously hasn't. I wouldn't have thought. Rutter there, number 7. who's closing in big time. Don't forget he started 7th on the road.
So he's ahead of McGuinness on corrected time, obviously.
Has been for a while. Here's Joey.
Ahead of everybody. Oh, who's that cheeky person?
Well, it wasn't.
Stephen Nugent.
I think he just got a bit of a shock there.
Yes.
So, number 1, Locker. He is at the Ramsey hairpin. We'll be checking these. This is the last lap, remember.
6-lap race as we pick up with McGuinness.
226.38 miles is the race distance of 6 laps. Through comes Moody now. Right, corrected times. Dunlop leads from Rutter, from McGuinness, from Locker, from Moody at Ramsey on the last lap. That is the order as they come to Ramsey checkpoint. Up and over. We're climbing the mountain now. This is Cap Davis. Cap Davis has dropped off of our leaderboard, well, a little while ago now. Through Guthrie's Memorial.
The weather just closing in a little bit, not
Yes.
so sunny up on top as it was when this race started.
Indeed, so the Isle of Man weather, you can see the mist up on the hill there now. It's getting a little bit murky. Not going to worry Joey Dunlop. I think he knows the way around here with a blindfold on.
Yes, here's Michael Rutter looking at 2nd place. He is nearly a minute behind Joey Dunlop. It's McGuinness behind him he's got to worry about.
He's got some work to do, Rutter. He's not going to catch Dunlop, I don't think, but stranger things have happened at the TT, that's for sure. So Michael Rutter, we're looking at the V&M, the Steve Mellors and Jack Valentine tuned motorcycle, but already dropping down towards Governors is the man himself. Joey Dunlop about to take his 24th TT at 48 years old. He has looked fitter than he ever has here and takes the win then over the line. Joey Dunlop, well, it's not confirmed yet, but I'd be amazed if Rutter was able to catch him. Bob McMillan to the right of your picture. Phil Plater from Dunlop there. That's his wife Linda in the foreground. So Joey Dunlop is the hero of the day. It has been a long time since this man has won a superbike race here at the TT. He restores Honda's honour by taking the Formula 1 race, and in 2nd place is Rutter. That's Roger Harvey, team coordinator for Honda Britain.
Joey Dunlop increased his lead on the final lap to win by almost a minute. An incredible win for anyone other than the TT legend himself.
You blitzed the opposition today, yeah. David Jeffries out with a problem.
I didn't know, it was tight. It was a tight race. It was going to be very hard the very last lap. And I was waiting on the last lap, and I think Jeffries was probably waiting on it too. So it's going to be hard work.
They brought this special bike over for you, Honda, and it seemed to do the trick.
Oh, it paid off anyway.
Now, it's your 24th TT victory, yeah. Is that the best of the lot?
I would say it's one of them anyway, I must admit. Now, it's hard work. Like, I stuck the pace, I think, better than I expected. I'm happy enough.
Honda employed me to motivate him this weekend, so he's done well. I hope he's not too motivated now on Wednesday.
Yes, I noticed you were in and part of the pit crew today. It must have been a big decision for you all to take.
Yeah, it's very nerve-wracking in there, you know. It's very nervous for me before a race, about half an hour, but once you get on the bike and you get off the line, I mean, you lose all that, but whenever you're in the pits and 6 laps, it's a long time, and it seems like ages, and you're always thinking about, is his tyres okay? Or, and I can visualise where he's at in the circuit, by the time, and I'm thinking, that's a hard section for him there, and things. So. But
just how an emotional occasion is this for the whole of the Dunlop family here today?
Oh well, I'm very pleased for Joey and his family. Yeah, he deserves it.
Well, Linda, how does that feel?
Fantastic, absolutely brilliant.
Did you think when you came over here this week that your man could do it again?
Oh, definitely not. Not in the Formula 1 anyway. No.
25 years coming to the Isle of Man. Just how big is that achievement that Joey has done today?
I would say it was near enough the best except for the first one.
Will there be a party tonight?
Hell of a party.
Well, Donna, what did you think of that?
That was brilliant. It was first class.
You glad you were here to see it?
Oh God, aye. Only we've done this morning. It's a good job.
We'll be looking at these pictures years from now, telling our grandchildren we were there the day Joey Dunlop made history yet again. Another historic win from the quiet man worshipped by pit lane, paddock and public bar alike, the only man who could win this race and genuinely delight every single onlooker, including his rivals. The grandstand was on its feet as he crossed the line, and they haven't sat down yet as 100,000 people around the Isle of Man stand to salute the greatest road racer of them all.
Three-wheeling around the world. Here we are, the grandstand. We're all ready to go.
The entertainment and the love you get from this sport.
Hello, three-wheelers, live with three-wheeling. We have an ambassador program.
They are so focused on this sidecar racing, and I'm in awe of them.
Are we about to witness TT history being made again?
If you're really keen and you want to get involved in the promotion of our great sport, then become an ambassador. Take photos and post them on our fan page. We have such a great sport, and it's all the personalities and all the friendships that we have and all the families that are involved.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to evening number 5 of the TT Lock-In Live, where we sit down with riders both past and present from the TT, and we just have a natter with them. And we want you to get involved in the chat as well tonight. So make sure you leave your comments and your questions to the riders tonight. And I've got to say, we've got TT royalty in my eyes. And no, I'm not talking about my co-host, Steve Plater. Steve, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, very well, thank you. All good. I tell you what, it was great last night chatting away with Philip McCallum and Speedy Reedy, both reminiscing and having a good time. But after that, the virtual TT powered by Motor, what a cracking race. A bit of sandbagging going on there. Tim Cummins putting on a great show. You'd expect Connor to be putting in a good time, but his teammate, Lewis Porter, flipping heck. I tell you what, I think he's about third fastest person. They're up to second place, so all to play for.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on with Connor there, because he said he only picked up his console 2 days prior to it. And yeah, I think there was a little bit of sandbagging. But then again, he does live on the island. So if anybody's going to know it well, it's going to be him. Right, let's get straight into this, because I'm very excited to introduce this first man and our first guest. He absolutely needs no introduction whatsoever, but he certainly deserves one. 23 times a TT winner. He's got a section of the course named after him. What more is there to say? It's John McGuinness.
John McGuinness.
Bike that's had very little development heading into TT 2019. Yeah, but back on board a Honda. It's a curve on the inside. Another Dalton.
That was incredible.
John McGuinness, welcome to the TT Lock-In Live. How have you been? You've been keeping busy?
Yeah, been busy doing stuff that we don't really want to be doing, do we? We want to be busy on bikes and getting prepared for being over there at this moment in time. But we've been, I've been doing things around the house. My lawn's about 2 millimeters now, so I can't mow it anymore. Took a few fences down, a bit of painting. I've actually built a go-kart track at home now, so we're getting a little bit of racing going on. We've got a few lads up here. David Todd's been up for a bit of a bomb round, and we've got like a bit of a Top Gear leaderboard, and Davey's leading the board at the minute because he's about 15 kilos lighter than me, isn't he? So, but yeah, it's been a little bit frustrating, but we're all healthy and family's good, and we're just unfortunately we've got to take it on the chin for a bit so we can burn some more petrol again.
How you doing, John? 2020 was looking like a great year for you in a new team. I'm guessing the first time for you on a Kawasaki around a TT course.
Yeah, first time. Yeah, it would have been. It would have been first time on a Kawi, but it's strange. I started my racing on a Kawasaki K1S, a two-stroke. And it was 30 years ago. So seems like yesterday. It's scary, but I've had a little experience with the Kawasaki. I did the Ulster Grand Prix on the Hawk Kawasaki, which was really, really good package. I sort of replaced Glenn Richards when he got injured towards the end of 2004. After I won 3 TTs in 04, then I had nothing on the cards apart from the TT in 04. But when I won those 3, I was back in the shop window and replaced Glenn Richards. And so it was a funny year, a good year, bit different year, but I got to ride a few different manufacturer bikes, but a strong year. So yeah, it's a great bike, isn't it? I'm looking forward to it. I got the right vibe from Pete Extons and Pete's missus. They came from Bournemouth, and Bournemouth to Morecambe's a good old trek. So anybody that comes up from as far as that is obviously interested. 60 starts, 57 finishes, 11 podiums, I think. It ticked the boxes for me. So I was looking forward to it, but I'll have to wait a bit longer.
Now, Macau Grand Prix, last meeting of 2019, you rode around there on the V4 Ducati. Did a good job, qualified third, front row. The race didn't quite go to plan, of course, a few problems, but I think most people, including me, expected to see you flying around the course on a flipping red bike this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny how it goes, there's a lot of big talk in Macau. I sort of semi-agreed with Paul Bird to ride the Ducati, and I loved that Ducati. I thought it was a real good package, and I was struggling a little bit with the chrome bike. Things weren't going great on the Norton at all, and I never looked good in a chrome suit. I always looked like a bit of a big fat chicken in tinfoil in that. So it was time to move on, and I sort of doubted my own ability a little bit. I thought maybe I'd lost it a little bit and lost that little bit you need. And when I went to Macau, I pulled out of pit lane, and I'd never even sat on that bike before. And straight away, we were right at the sharp end. I loved it. I loved every second of being on the bike, hitting all the apexes and just enjoying it. And we got back from Macau, and there was a few things changed, and it was a couple of little clashes of sponsors, and I don't know, I didn't fit just quite the bill for Paul, and then when sort of James went on to the OMG team, it opened a big door for me, so I just jumped in that. I just knew that the Kawasaki's a strong bike, we know that, and I was shocked. I was a little bit shocked to see Michael do the deal on the Ducati, so I don't know what Michael did. He must have twisted Birdie's arm somehow, and but I've ridden for Birdie for a long, long time, and we have a bit of a different relationship really to a lot of riders. I mean, I've come in at the start, and I was Birdie's first ever rider. Sort of me, Chris Palmer, Steve Patrickson at the early days. So it's I sort of owe him a lot, and we've always had that relationship. But I did think we were going to get together, but this thing's is what I'm doing now. This Quattro plant, Bournemouth Kawasaki, Pete Exton's, his son, the whole package works for me. So just I'll be 49 when I get my leg over it on the start line, and it would have been my 100th start last Saturday, whenever it was. I lost track of time. Tuesday's like a bloody Sunday to me. I don't know what's happening with the time. It's all just gone AWOL at the minute. But if I'd have been on the grid there for my first start this year, it would have been 100 starts. So yeah, what's going on? Must be mad.
Well, I tell you what, another man who's put some starts in at the TT is our next guest, a 7 times TT winner and the master of Macau. It's Michael Rutter.
Here we see Michael Rutter. What an amazing machine. Have a listen to it.
Speeds have been going up. Start of the TT0 race.
Well, they're certainly a different machine to ride. Rutter on the RCV Honda.
I love watching that VT from one extreme to the other. The loudest bike at the TT to the quietest. Michael, how are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, just looking at the weather outside, turning bad, but wishing was out there at the TT.
Michael and John, I've got a question for you both. But Michael, you go first, so we're not talking over each other, please. Now, what are your greatest memories? Obviously, that was a fabulous race in 2000, the F1 race. You know, you finished runner-up opposite to Joey. But what was it like, first of all, racing against, obviously, the greatest man around the TT course?
Oh, we've got so many memories with, obviously, going to the TT. I started in, like, 93 and going to race there with Joey. That year in 2000, it was fantastic. Like, the biggest race for me was the senior, because I was on the road with him, and no one could really believe it, how quick he was. Every place, but basically he went off in front of me. I caught him on the road, and I thought, I won't see him again. And next thing, this little yellow helmet come flying past me and wobbling out of sight. I started catching him again. I passed him, he passed me, and the last few laps of the race, the last 2 laps, we must have passed each other 5 or 6 times a lap. And Joey was so fast, just incredibly quick. He was like our age now, mine and John's age, 48-year-old, and he made us look stupid. And I think even, I know David broke down that race, but he was challenging for that win, and I think he probably could have won it because he had a bit left. On that last lap, he went a bit quicker, and it all fell in place for him. It was just amazing to be on that podium, obviously, with John and, Joey and myself. It was one of those things you'll take away forever.
John, I think that was Joey's 25th TT. Some fella, eh?
Yeah, unbelievable. Like you say, we're just there, me and Michael, looking, to our side and seeing this old codger, really, at 48, who had just turned us all over, and it was really special. I mean, I was his teammate. I was on the VTR SP1s, and to be honest, they were a bit of a turd, really. They weren't the greatest thing on the track, and we had some problems at the Northwest, and he, I asked him at the Northwest, he put it on pole positions, and I said, how did you do that? And he just grit your teeth, he said. And then I was like, and then went to the TT, and he sort of commanded some more parts of the bike, and they shipped in the Aaron Slight engine, and rightly so, and he delivered the goods. It was awesome. It was really special to see. It was my first Superbike podium, and Michael was second, I was third, and it sort of really kickstarted my Superbike career as well. So, and then I was the 250 British champion. I'd won the 250 race the year before, and he was number 3, his famous number 3. I was number 4, and I thought, I'm just going to catch him here, and he's not going to see which way I've gone. And when the flag dropped, I never saw him. So he just showed me a clean pair of heels there. But it's funny, what motivated Joey was, if he just something wound him up a little bit, then I think he really had his race face on. And I passed him in practice and sort of roughed him up a little bit, went past him and gave him a bit of a nudge on my 250, trying to throw my weight about a little bit. And I just knew when I'd done that, I should have never have done that. And after the race, I asked him, that was the reason why you got beat. So, yeah, there was great. A couple of weeks later, we lost a great man, but special.
We just saw on that VT there that the only mistake he made during that race, by the looks of it, was dropping that champagne. Now, Michael, did that champagne end up on your foot?
Yeah, exactly. Like you say, after the senior race, like John was saying, I passed him in the race, and I thought, I passed him down Sulby Straight. I think I've got a good draft, and he come. I was past him. I thought I won't see him again, and then he come past me, and he come really close to me. And I think he thought, right, I'll teach him a lesson. And I think motivated, his age. And as you know, speaking to his wife Linda as well, they said, you know, he'd love to beat me and John. So it was fantastic that he went and did that. But yeah, he got the bottle, and he's like, half of his fingers are missing from crashes before as well. So I think he couldn't get the top of the bottle open, and it spun and hit me in the leg and picked it up for him. And you know, it's looking back on that, me and John are so lucky to be standing there on the podium and like racing with him. And you know, there's not many people who've been on the track and watched Joey Dunlop from behind, and we're very privileged.
Michael, you had a great on-track battle with Joey in the senior race. Was it like being back at school, learning?
Yeah, it was. And to be honest with you, like some places I thought Joey's going to be so fast here, and he wasn't as quick as I thought he was going to be. I don't know if it was the SB2 or whatever, SB1. But then you get to places like coming into the Craig. I thought, right, I was doing British Championship. I was like winning racing British Championship, you know, racing in Steve Islop, all the boys back there, John Reynolds. And when I come to like coming into the Craig, I thought, right, I'll do him, you know, no problem. And I levelled him coming down on the last lap, and I hit the brakes. And I thought, no way is he going to stop. And the rear wheel of this Honda, you know, like someone his age and riding how he wasn't doing short circuits. The rear wheel was a foot in the air, and put the rear wheel down, turned into there. I just thought, how does he do it? And I run wide, he run wide, and then I thought, no way is he going to beat me over the start and finish, no way. And I tried having a go at signpost, no chance whatsoever. And he messed up a little bit going into the nook, and the rear wheel of his Honda was, I mean, it was like the height of this table here, and he couldn't get the wheel down, and I got inside him and passed him over the line. And you know, I go over the line in front of him, and he never said a word, not even on the podium. And then they have like a room where you have like a bit of a chat after with all the press people and that. And Joey's, all I see was an arm with a Honda logo and a pint of bitter put down in front of me. And he just tapped me on the shoulder and smiled at me, and he goes, I really enjoyed that. And like from Joey, like he's a god, you know, and it makes me go cold all over thinking about it. It's fantastic.
Now, I don't know if it's my age, but back in 2000, when I was watching the TT, that Honda colour that Joey had, the red, obviously with his yellow helmet as well, was such an iconic colour. John, didn't you replicate that in was it 2013? That tribute to Joey?
Yeah, we did the to Joey 2013. It was, you're right, and it was all top secret. We ran in the normal Honda TT Legends colours for all of practice, and I knew about it. Nobody else did, apart from the team. And
see you, John.
He hasn't paid the electric bill again.
What I was going to say was he looked amazing in those colours. Michael, were you racing at the time? Did you see that?
Yes, I was the next tent to him, and it was all covered up and everything, and I had a suspicion what it was going to be, and it was great to see that yellow helmet out there again with that Honda colours, and and especially John, he did a brilliant job on that bike, didn't he?
Yeah, that was a very special one. Right, let's get over to some questions. We're getting loads of questions coming in from the audience, so we're going to hit you with some questions while we try and find out why the internet's gone down in Morecambe. So, Michael, Steve, are you ready to go with the question?
I've got a question for Mark here, mate. Obviously, we've been looking at Joey, and Joey always had factory bikes, factory engines, like we saw there in the SP1. You've got a beautiful bit of kit, that RCV. Were you planning to use that again this year, 2020?
We'd love to. We'd love to use it again. The problem is that, things are moving on. That was a 2014 bike. And when it was brought out, like the new BMW, which you see here, like the new S1000, it's just... They're just as quick as it now, and they'll just move quicker and quicker. It's beautiful riding the Honda, the sound of it, everything. It's awesome bit of kit, but things move on, and a standard road bike now is probably just as quick as it, and these things will just move on quicker and quicker as the year goes on.
John, question coming in from the audience: Have you put 50p in the meter now? He's obviously not put enough money in it, because I still can't hear him. I can see him, but I can't hear him.
He needs to sell a few more books. Is that Michael?
We'll come back to him shortly.
Michael, now, of course, we mentioned 2002. So what about 21? Are you going to choose something different to ride? And first of all, are you going to be back at the TT? I know you're running your own team and you're changing things around a little bit at British Championship. Have you still got that fire in your belly to go back and try and stand on the podium?
Well, I've been looking at things. Obviously, this year's been real difficult for racing, and I've been so lucky to have Bathams, and I've got a lot of sponsors I've had over years, and they've all stuck by me, and it's an honour, that all these people have, because difficult times, and looking forward. Hopefully, we'll get out this year. Obviously, it's going to be, I don't think, very little road racing. Hopefully, Macau will come up, but yeah, I was looking what I can do. I've been 2 months. I've been building sheds in the garden here. I've been buying books. I bought John McGuinness's book, which was on discount. I've got that as well, and Steve left some of your hair dye here as well, so you can pick that up. When you want. So, if we're looking forward to basically next year. But hopefully this will finish early, this coronavirus, and we can get out racing again.
Let's hope so.
I'll tell you what, mate, you've let me play with that.
Let's try and get to these questions coming in. Firstly, have we got John back? John, have we got any audio on you? Right, we've still not got any audio on him. So, Michael, tell me, what makes a good TT rider? What qualities does a rider need to be a good TT rider?
I think nowadays, it's when I started, you didn't have like the games you got now. You didn't have the onboard laps. When I was watching to learn the track, which it was like V4 Victory, it was Joe Dunlop and onboard camera on his bike. And the track had changed so much, and you've got the people there now to educate you, to take you around, and all that. So I've only got the mountain as well one way, so that's a big help. You can run around in a car in the week as well. So I think you need to be smooth. You need to be dedicated. You need to love the TT. The TT is very dangerous. All racing is dangerous. TT is extremely dangerous. Like all road racing is, and I think I have a passion for it, and be smooth. Smooth riders normally the fast ones, and look back over the years. You got John, obviously he's got a bit of weight on him. He can pull the bike round and everything, so it's easy for him. And got big people that normally do work better around there. You need to be able to be strong to pull the bike round.
Do you see any like either British Superbike riders or potentially like a MotoGP rider that you look at and think they would transition pretty well into a TT rider?
It's hard to say. It's like we all know everyone, all those people who go to GP. There's no bad riders there. They all could come along and be good, but it's having the passion for it. Like I used to go do shows with John. Me and John McGuinness, we go and do loads of shows together, and you can tell by John he's won so many. He knows every inch of it, and he knows everything about it. He loves every part of it. He knows every result, and I think any rider from GP, and there is riders which I think do like it, but actually doing it and sitting there on that grid's another thing.
Sorry, ladies and gents, we've lost John McGuinness. But John, if you can hear us, can you please leave and rejoin, okay? Reconnect, and hopefully we'll get back on board. Now, Michael, you come back in 2021. Are you maybe just thinking about the smaller machines? Obviously, you've still been winning on the Zero and on the Twins. Do you kind of enjoy the smaller bikes rather than the big bikes?
I don't really, no. I enjoy the bigger bikes. I always have done, and you know yourself, Steve, riding a small bike, a 600 and the 650s, you have to try so hard round the corner. Corner speed's everything, TT. And you've got to go into the corners on the 650s and the 600s. You've got to be trying like short circuit type, you know, to even get up there anywhere, the leaderboard. About winning the race is another thing. You know, with the super bikes and that, obviously you got Peter Hickman now, and he's like doing BSB coming back. He's on it, and they're at a different level to what, you know, we're doing. But yeah, I enjoy personally the big bikes. Always have done. You know, I've always struggled with the 600s and the smaller bikes. So I've had some lucky wins, I think, and you know, on the big bikes, I've been leading quite a few races and had stupid little problems with water leaks, tyres going down. I've lost my contact lenses, you know, when I was wearing contact lenses in 2000. You know, you need to win a TT race as well.
Michael, what TT race has stood out the most for you? Like, which one have you most enjoyed being part of?
Oh, it's, you know, there's so many, but I still think that, you know, watching Joe Dunlop going around there, it's and I've sat down and doing talk shows, and you know, everyone's fascinated by Joey Dunlop as well. And I've raced a lot of special people, that take me around. Like I was lucky to be taken around with Steve Islop and Joey and Robert Dunlop and Philip McCallan, and you know, I put in my book, you know, about that, and it was. You know, I've had so much education, and so I've followed so many different riders from when I was younger. And obviously, my dad raced there. My dad won the TT 7 times, but you know, it was it's just something. It's in me, and I love going there, and it's a massive thing to me.
You're doing a great job, obviously, British Championship, bringing the younger kids through, fast kids, and you know, with your Batham's team. Is that part of the schooling program? Are you going to be doing the same at the TT when you finally decide to hang your boots up?
Yeah, that is the plan. You know, we like I say, been so lucky to have Batham's sponsor me for so long now, since 2009, and we've built the team up. And the last 3 years we've been running to Batham's Racing, which has been ourselves, Alec, you know, mechanic as well, and. It's only a small team, and we don't want to go too big. We enjoy what we're doing. We're trying to bring young riders on. You know, we had Taylor last year, and we were so close to win the championship. We had a second. I'm doing a bit as well, and I try and help out in some ways with suspension and settings and whatever. And then, you know, obviously this year we had Richard Cooper on board, which he won the championship. And in the Superstock Championship, and we wanted the best rider on our bike, and we thought, you know, this year was going to be good, but we haven't turned the wheel yet. But looking forward to road racing, yeah, we would be. When the thing is, where I'm trying to help with the team, you know, it isn't just me in charge. We all help and we all put something into it. And when at a short circuit now, it's so difficult for me because. Last year, I've seen like the yellow flags go on. I think, oh my God, is that Taylor? And I can't concentrate on my job properly doing short circuits because I'm doing a bit of everything. So I noticed my results have slipped a bit. But when I go to the Northwest and the TT and the road racing, it's just me. And for me, that's easy then because I know it's just all on me, and I've just got to worry about me. If I go road racing with somebody else, I think it's time for me to retire and just concentrate on them because of the danger thing. Really, you just need to be 150% concentrating on your job and make sure everything's 100% right.
And I believe John is still with us, although we still have no audio on John. So, John, just want to make sure you're having a good time there. Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us. Right, so you can hear us. Yeah, are you having a good time? He's loving it. Is good. As long as you're having fun, that's fine. Go and restart your computer again. Michael, just going back to what Steve was saying about that retirement, is there any plans to, or are you just gonna keep going forever?
You can't go forever. Like, you know, I've noticed the last few years, you know, I'm 48 years old now, and I've been doing it a long time. 31 years now I've been racing. It's, you know, I was, it's scary really, because I've been racing, I've been going to race meetings with my dad since I was born, and been to the TT virtually. I've missed about 3 or 4 years of the TT since I've been born. Racing's in my blood. I love going racing. That's the only thing I'm going to do. My modelling career never worked out, so that's what I ended up doing.
Michael, you've pretty much raced on most machines and most championships. You know, you've been on the podium at World Superbike, you've been runner-up in the British Superbikes, and God knows how many race wins and podiums. Obviously, all the road racing, and you won at them all. What is your favourite?
Everyone asks this question. I think when you go to like Alton Park or Brands Hatch and you go out there, it's fantastic. You go as quick as you can, and you can crash. You get back up again. You go quick as you can again. You go to GP circuits. I've been lucky enough to do GP for each season, and going to some of those circuits. And then you go to the Isle of Man TT. You go to the Northwest. You go to Macau. Every one of them's got their own special thing, and I'm so lucky because my dad, when I started racing, he took me everywhere. He didn't like me to go and do championship. I went to all different circuits, and luckily I went to the Isle of Man TT, and he was there. Northwest 200, he was there. Ulster Grand Prix, Macau. Then I've done 24-hour racing, you know, Le Mans and all that. So I've been to Suzuka. It's just I can't say I like just one in one way. They're all different, but you still can't beat a tap on the shoulder when you're going down the Glen Crutcher Road on that first lap, you know, and a man taps you on the back and off you go for 6 laps of a senior TT.
So tell us about that. Obviously, you said you've been doing it for as long as I've been alive almost, which is probably going to make you feel very old. But that tap on the shoulder the first time, is it exactly the same as it is every time you go? A few butterflies, off you go, and then you're into it.
It's not so bad now. But I mean, I remember getting up on that in '93, and it was a very early morning, and I think it's 5 o'clock start. And you're out on that track and you get that tap on the shoulder. The sun's just coming up. It's frightening, you know. I've got loads of leathers, you know, from every year and all that. And, you know, all my crash helmets, I try to keep one of each year. And that it's there's so much history in the stuff. And then I've got my dad's stuff as well. So, you know, again, that tap on the shoulder is still special. I've got, I brought a set of, you know, those are the leathers I raced with and everything there with Joey and John. So I try to keep something from every year, just a bit of a special remember, you know, to remember the event.
Michael, it's I think it's 22 years now since you won your first TT. Was it 98? Was it on the Supersport? You know, I mean,
yeah, it's not
broccoli and how do you keep yourself motivated to get out there and still keep winning like I do?
I don't want a real job. That's the thing. I've been very lucky. I left school and I was the worst probably student at school in the world, and I went and worked in a bike shop luckily for a couple of years, and then I went racing really full time. So I've been very, very lucky, and I can't. I look at a lot of my friends who are very clever and very, and they're working, you know, which I've got away with murder. Really, I've got away with murder. So that's the motivation for me. I enjoy what I'm doing, and the thing is, it's you think about 24 hours a day. It's not just a thing where you finish at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock at night. It's on Christmas Day, you're thinking about it and you want to make, you know, what I'm trying to do now is trying to make our team better than anyone else's team. And I think it's the motivation that you need, you know, it's just to try and beat that next person. So, yeah, that's what keeps you going.
And is there any bikes that you've not ridden, Michael? Because obviously, like I say before, you've spanned careers and years and years of different kind of bikes. But is there a bike that you've always wanted to ride at the TT but never got the chance?
Yes, I remember when I was young, probably about 11 or 12 years old, and they had the RVFs, I think they were, the factory bikes with Islop and Carl Fogarty on, and they were just like awesome bit of kit, and I wanted one of those badly to ride. And I always wanted to race a Norton as well, because I remember watching Trevor Nation and Robert Dunlop go past start finish, and they had slick tyres on, and it was wet, and they were spinning up going down, and I watched that when I was a kid, and that's just imprinted on into your mind, and you think I'd love to race one of those as well, because they look proper fast.
You had quite a big break concentrating on BSB, on the superbike side. How difficult was it to get back to the TT and get up to pace?
Yeah, a lot of people ask me why. 2000, obviously I finished on the podium, had some good results that year, and then I didn't go back for 7 years. And unfortunately, a lot of teams at that time, the TT, if you want to do British Championship, and that's where, to be honest with you, where all the sponsors wanted me to be, and where you could earn some decent money as well doing that. And they said, right, you either do British Championship, concentrate on that, or you don't, you go into the TT and your road racing. And that's what happened with a lot of riders, like John was saying earlier. Basically, you had to do one or the other. Luckily, nowadays it's changed a bit, so you can do both. But it was for a few years, it was hard. I wanted to go back every year. In 2001, I think it was cancelled. 2002, I asked, and they told me, you either do it or you don't. And I started to ride for Honda in 2004. I rode for HRC Honda with obviously the HM Plant team for 2 years. And I thought, right, this is my opportunity. And I remember sitting there, and Neil Tuxworth said, if you're doing the TT, we're happy to run you, but you're not doing British Championship. So I thought at that age, just concentrate on that. And I went back in 2007, and it was the massive shock. I was like, I had a bit of a story to that, really, because I had a big crash at Snetterton. I'm coming out of chicane. I broke my scaphoid in my wrist, and me and John McGuinness and Hutchie were all going in straight from there to the TT. So I pulled up at the petrol station in my motorhome, and John's in his motorhome behind me, and I wasn't really concentrating, so I got out. And still ticking over, and I got out of the side door, and basically I must have left it in reverse. And I walked out, and my motorhome was reversing now towards John's motorhome. I could see him there with his hands in the air, like screaming. I jumped in, got in, and got my foot up, and I put it on the accelerator. So I ended up about 1 millimetre away from his motorhome, but got to the TT in 07, and the Kawasaki just unfortunately it just wasn't the engine. It just kept. I didn't get past Craignabar, and I remember going out in the 600 the first day, and the 600 was then the speed of my old R1 in 2000. So that's how much things had moved on. And when I went out on a superbike, it was just so different, and the track was different, and I was remembering a lot of bumps. It was so bumpy in 2000. And it was like a motorway compared in 2007. So all these things it's really, really difficult to, for me anyway, it was like I'd never been there before. It was real difficult for me.
Oh, man. Michael, let's talk about your rivals now. I might know the answer to this one already, but I'm going to ask you a twofold, really. Who's the most naturally gifted rider you've ever raced against on the road and then on the track as well?
I think there's no doubt about it, Steve Islop. I've raced against some great riders, and I've followed Steve at Cadwell Park and raced, and he's just absolutely annihilated me. And I was on it, and and he made me look stupid. And even Colin Edwards was watching. I remember him coming up to me after racing. He goes, "Do you know what? No one was going to beat him." And I do think anyone in the world would say Steve Hislop on his day. Don't matter if he was at Darley-Moor, Northwest 200 TT, anywhere in the world, GP, I think he would win.
For a second, and you can put it back.
And I think, I definitely think he was just the ultimate. And watching around the TT, luckily I did go 1 year and race with him. I've seen him on track a bit, but that was his last year, and he was awesome.
Right. A question to John coming in from everybody is, can you hear us? And can we hear you?
Who cut his hair, by the way?
How
you doing, John?
He's like your dad who doesn't know how to use technology, isn't he?
Michael,
I
when you
carry on watching him.
I thought he was going to say me.
You were probably the psycho one.
How about that, Stephen? Who was yours, Steve?
Say that again, sorry.
Who was your rival that was the most naturally gifted?
There's been so many, in all fairness. I was lucky enough to be teammates with Hislop at the Boldore 24 Hour. And do you know what? Listening to the man, he was so analytic with everything he did, especially riding motorcycles, and obviously so special on them. So I'd have to agree with Michael. I really would.
Looks like there's a domestic going off down there as well.
Can we slag him off a bit?
You can pretty much say anything you want about him as long as you don't swear, Michael. You can say anything.
That's what Michael
the question that came in from the audience was: have you still got your giant novelty check from the TT0?
Do you know what? I was going to bring it tonight, and I'm at home tonight, and at the workshop I forgot to bring it because I know that really upsets John a bit. So that was a real high of my life. That was getting that check and putting it on John's windscreen of his motorhome, and letting him look at it when he woke up in the morning.
Hey, Michael, you obviously there's a bit of needle there between you and John, and now he's not on. Can you answer that? There's a bit of needle on the zero bikes. Obviously, you kept beating him for sure, but was it about the money or just winning?
It started basically. I was on the Moto season. He was on the Mugen. Obviously, they had a massive team. Mugen did, and we were like three people, and it was an American team. And I really thought, no way, just no way we'd beat Mugen. And John was all week. He'd already got his watch ready. He'd already won that, and he'd already spent his prize money down Douglas Front. And I really thought, he was going to win it. And the only thing we had, which was good with the Mugen, I could ride it, and I had like different settings. I could ride it as in the settings. I could, with the Mugen, you only can ride as quick as you can. With the Moto Cis bike, I could go quicker in some places, and I could save a bit of power. And I just thought the only way I could beat John is really just take it easy down the bottom end of the circuit, look at my boards, and then over the mountain, just give it everything. And just, if it didn't make it back, it didn't make it back. But John was on a strategy, and that was it. He had to stick with it. And he caught me on the mountain, he was telling me, and he got up virtually behind me, and he just said he couldn't do anything about it. He just seen me pull away. And obviously, after the race, we're in the Parc Ferme, and he come up to me, and I can't repeat the words he was telling me on air. And he was swearing and everything, and I was like laughing and saying, "I shouldn't have had so many McDonald's, and you're too fat and all that." And he was starting to get more upset, and I thought, "Oh, he's not joking," So I then started really winding him up, and on the podium. He was going, "This isn't a race," and it wasn't happy times till really we made up. We're on the plane. We're going to Suzuka 8 Hour, and he started having a go at me again about it. And we were drinking at the back of the plane, me and him, and everyone else was asleep. And I had a bit of a go at him and said, I'd give that win up for one of your senior or your Formula One race or your Superbike wins. And he looked at me and just said, I agree. And that was it. Like a married couple, obviously he's the bad half.
They're just like a married couple, aren't they? Michael, thank you so much for your time. Apologies to everybody who wanted to hear more from John, but hey, that's the internet. That's more than internet for you. It's, they obviously don't put enough money into it there. But Michael, really appreciate your time and thank you so much for joining us on the TT Lock-In Live. Yeah, cheers, Steve. As always, legendary, Steve. Smashing it. Right, coming up next, we are actually going to see more of John McGuinness because we're going to re-witness all of his 23 TT wins in John McGuinness TT Winner.
To race at the Isle of Man TT is an achievement in itself. To win one, well. In the modern day era of TT racing at the Isle of Man, there's been no one to touch John McGuinness. 23 wins in all, the majority of which have been with Honda. He's now with Norton, where I spoke to him about his success at the Isle of Man TT. John McGuinness, first of all, 23 wins, that's some stat.
It's been an amazing journey, you know, right from the word go in '96 as a newcomer to the current day, you know.
They say it takes 3 years to win a TT, and that's exactly how it worked out for you.
It is, yeah. '97 I stood on the podium for the first time with Joey Dunlop and Ian Locker. '98 I did the same. Joey won the race again. I was third behind Bob Jackson. And in '99 it was my turn to win, if you like.
And the 25-year-old from Morecambe, a man who has yet to win a TT.
I thought in my head that it's the best I was riding. I was leading the British Championship. I'd won Daytona. I'd won some other events and stuff, and I was on fire. And it was. I said to myself, it's now or never, you know. So I went down Braille on the first lap, and the bike was flying. And
here's McGuinness. What a British Championship he's having at the moment.
And yeah, we won, brought lap record, an old lap record from Ian Locker that stood for a long time, and a bit of a big anticlimax really across the line. And didn't really know what to say to the press or anything. I was just so excited and sprayed the champagne and stood on the podium with Gavin Lee, who's not with us anymore unfortunately, and Jason Griffiths. So yeah, first win was '99. Yeah, 3 years. You know, some people, I think Plater did it in his second year, whatever. But you know, there's never you can't put a time scale on it. There's no crystal ball. You know, you just got to serve your time, and when it's time, it's time. You know.
So if you said that's it and walked away from the TT, then you know to actually achieve a TT victory.
Well, that's what I said to the missus. I said, if I win the British Championship and a TT, I'm done. You know, and that was in 1999, so that was a decade ago, wasn't it? Or more, I don't know, last century. But it's just, you've no chance. It's got hold of you, that TT's got hold of you, got a grip of you, and while you're enjoying it and, you know, teams around you and putting, you know, the effort in, and you can't let go of it, you know. And
it's been a long time, but do you still have vivid memories of that first race?
I don't know, I have memories about every single one of my races. You know, I can pull one out of the hat, and I always remember, you know, from a 400 win, singles win in 2000, you know, that I can remember them all, you know, the pit stops and things, and who was working on the bikes and what we were doing. And my first win, I do remember it, you know. I really concentrated hard on the first lap, and we brought the lap record from a standing start. We brought the lap record slowing down for the pits with a great pit stop, you know. I was reading my pit boards, and, you know, it's a lovely way to win a TT, is being in a position where you've got a handy lead and you can back things off a little bit and sort of enjoy it, you know.
This, though, is your winner, John McGuinness, for the Vimto team. What a ride.
I don't know, just you get a good board and you just go for it, don't you?
We ended up somewhere in a bit of a mess somewhere, in the casino or something, but, you know, we enjoyed it them days. You know, we still do now, but, you know, it's a bit frowned upon now when you're in the battle. God knows what time, but we were in them days. We had a good old session and really enjoyed it.
Is there one of those 23 wins that means more to you than any other?
You put me on the spot now. I get asked this question a lot, and I want to say half a dozen because they're so special. And to win a TT, you know, it's amazing. You know, to finish one as well. You know, if you finish 20th, you get a finisher's medal, whatever. It's still an amazing journey. But I don't know. There's a couple. You know, your first win's always amazing, but it was expected. I think. You know, I was on the best bike. But the ones that are unexpected were always really sweet. You know, I was sort of written off a little bit in 15. And you know, I came out fighting, broke that outright lap record, and you know, shut a few people up. You know, and I get motivated in different ways. Me, you know, I don't like to talk about it. I just one little thing sparked a bee in my bonnet. I was 18 to 1 at the bookies to win. I thought I'm better than that. I'm a lot better than that. So, but 13 was special when I beat Michael Dunlop. I did the Joey Dunlop tribute in the first race. I rode really poor on the first couple of laps, and then I got stronger through the race. And I brought the outright lap record on the last lap, and then the senior came along, and Michael were going through the cars. He won all 4 races, and I won the senior.
There goes John McGuinness. He is going to take his 20th TT win, 41st podium.
And the senior is really special when it's a 6-lap one. The 15 one was 4 laps, and there's just something about a 4. It's amazing, but there's something special about a proper 6-lap senior TT to win one of those. And the 13 one was special.
The one in 15, which I think I'd have picked as mine, was the John McGuinness that won that race, a different John McGuinness to the John McGuinness that had been racing that week?
Do you know what? It's again super difficult one to answer. I don't know. I didn't think I was riding bad. You know, I did personal best lap times on super stock bikes. I was going okay on the 600s and stuff, and I don't really know. I don't know. When you're at the TT, you get steered different things as you go along, and I got steered into something in the first race that I didn't want to go down, and I hate having an excuse, but you know, it's me that makes the decisions at the end of the day and what I want to ride on, and I chose something that I shouldn't have done, and I knew it as soon as I set off, but you know, I just needed to put it right in the senior. We did, you know. It's not. I'd love it when people just doubt me. You know, if I get doubted a bit and backed into a corner, I like to come out fighting. You know, I mean, things were changing. You know, that 13, 14, 15, the pace was going up, the bars are getting risen up. You know, we're into 132 brackets now. We're into nearly 134 brackets. So I needed to change something. You know, I was winning races that. Again, not trying to sound it making disrespectful to other guys. I was probably winning them with a little bit in reserve, you know, but I had to dig deep in that 15. And yeah, I put all the years and years of experience into it to win it. So it did feel pretty sweet.
Look at this massive wheelie. John McGuinness comes over the line to take his 7th senior TT and his 23rd TT overall.
Were the doubts creeping into your mind as the week went on?
No.
Seriously?
Not really. No, not really. I had a good bike, I had a good team, I had the best tyres, I have a great family around me, I have all my people. You know, I'm getting older, but I'm getting more experience, I know what to do. And you know, Bruce won I call it the Formula 1 race, I always call it Formula, the first Superbike race. Bruce won that, and he's older than me. So you know, and I don't know.
But with the age thing, with, you know, all of a sudden, because even I'm sure when you were younger and you were looking at Joey and others that were racing into their 40s and you're thinking, oh, I'll be finished by then, but suddenly you find yourself in the 40s, and then suddenly you start thinking, well, maybe age has caught up with me.
I do, yeah. I mean, I never thought I would be. Well, I remember being 25-year-old looking at a 46-year-old man. He's an old man at the time. Bloody hell, what an old codger he is. But I'm that age now, but I don't feel any different. You know, I mean, the body looks different and a few wrinkles and stuff, but the mind's still 25 years old, or 21, whatever you want to call it. But I don't think anything was creeping in. You do think about it, but I tell you, I feel day-to-day stuff, you know, cycling or whatever, or messing around, I feel out of my comfort zone. I feel more at ease and doing my job, which is riding on the bike. You know, that's when I come out of my shell, if you like, and it all comes together for me.
Another special win was your second win. For different reasons, totally different to any other win that you've had at the TT.
Yeah, on the single, yeah. We lost Dave Morris at an accident at Croft at the end of 1999, and the two boys, Neil and Lee Morris, were they wanted to carry on their, legacy of the dad, and the dad built the bike. He handmade it, with Harry's parts, and he built the engine and the pistons and the handmade the cylinders, and it was a gorgeous bike.
What was it like to ride?
Lovely, really, really nice. I mean, obviously, you jump on these super bikes, and sometimes you're a passenger. They're just riding you at times. They've got so much power, and they're on the back wheel, and you're just constantly just threading needles all the time. But that was really nice, Sort of reminded me of my 250 days, where you had to be inch perfect, just keep the ball rolling, and don't over rev it, be a bit mechanically be sympathy with the bike, and it was just lovely. 720cc, 5-speed, single cylinder, so it just had to be ridden with a bit of care, and it was just, and it's nice to ride something that's a little bit slower. You can enjoy it, you get taking the scenery a little bit, Sometimes pick people out in the crowd and stuff, but on the big bikes you are just totally focused on every being millimetre perfect. But it was nice. It was a pleasure to ride. It was a pleasure to work with them, and out of my 23 wins, it's one of them, and it's part of the journey. I just had a big, huge moment, and I put my foot down. It took the sole of my shoe off, my boots off. I was like, it was just the closest she's ever going to come to having a huge one.
You'd had 2 TT wins, John, and then it was a gap of 3-4 years before your next one, and it was a big bike win.
To be honest, it was probably Jim Moody that was a big steering point in 2004 for me to be able to win big bike races. I sort of believed it, but I was still not prepared, I wouldn't rink this and I wouldn't eat this, and my vet helmets were a bit unprepared, and I didn't have knee slider, or just silly little things, the basics. And like Moody, get yourself in bed early tonight, eat this porridge, or as you drink, and he would have me on the start line, one of the first away, because like now it's all in starting orders. Well, in them days you could barge your way up. Number 77 would be going with an orange jacket on, and the fast guys would be behind him, so it was all a bit unorganised, if you like. But Jim would have me back, pushed to the front, and get yourself away. You can do this lap time, blah blah blah, and you can win. And then we did.
And that's Jim Moody helping him there, and that could explain an awful lot of McGuinness's pace this week and today.
We went really, really fast. We practiced consistently the quickest, and I did the treble that year. I won 3 TTs in 04, so I thought, little things, the little basic things that brought it all together, and that was, it taught me a lot. I had a 1 race deal with Yamaha in 04. 1 race for the TT on the new R1, I don't know what model it was called, new exhaust under the seat thing, and we were the fastest. I was leading the senior by a mile, and the clutch started slipping as well, so that was one that got away from me. But 04 was the winning year.
How sweet was that, 04?
I was a bit up and down, a bit frustrating. I led every single race. I was leading a production race. I ran out of fuel, but I sneaked into the pits and we finished. Bruce beat me. I won the 600 race. I was leading the production 600 race. The steering damper broke on lap 2. When I come in for fuel, I got Moody to put his hand over the damper because there's a scrutineer or so. I got pulled off, you see. So I said, cover the steering damper. So, and I did last lap with not much. Well, I finished third. But it's all ifs and buts, you know what I mean. But that was another one I could have potentially won. And then I was leading the senior by a mile, and I did the mistake. I came into the old stop box system, raced into the stop box, raced out of the stop box, got filled up with fuel, raced away from the line with a big lead. I should have been more cautious with the clutch. You know, and I got warned as well. You know, be careful because the clutches were quite weak on the bikes, and I destroyed the clutch, and it hurt. That hurt, that did, you know. I mean, the people were having worse days, and I was sat at Kurt Michael with a broken bike. The bike was mint, but I knackered the clutch.
And that's John McGuinness coming to a halt. That is John McGuinness in Kurt Michael, and he is looking for somewhere to park the Yamaha.
Well, I just wonder whether his pit stop is indicative of that.
So I was like, "Argh." So again, you're learning, always learning, always learning. So yeah.
Little bit of emotion from John McGuinness, blisters on his hands, and he can see our chopper.
That first Yamaha win, though, what do you remember about that?
Well, I remember it was only 4-lap race. It was only 4-lap Formula 1 race because he went to 4 laps for some reason that year. I just remember, I think Jim had put that much confidence in me. I felt pretty invincible on that bike, you know. And I think the TT was probably in doldrums a bit. Would you say? Was it a little bit struggling a little bit after the loss of David, and the press was giving it a good old kick in, and you know, like now it's all super positive, but then you got a bit of negative press, and I don't think they had the depth of field, so maybe it was a little bit easier for me. Again, no disrespect to Archie, and I mean at the time it was Richard Britton, it was you know, all them guys, unfortunately not with us anymore, Martin Finnegan, were all strong riders and stuff, but you know, I just felt like I had a good package. I was riding good, I was doing, you know, British Championships, I was, you know, putting plenty of effort into everything, and I felt like I was riding strong. But I do remember it, you know, across the line, it was special. The guy who designed the Yamaha, the Japanese fellow, was there, so it's his first sort of big bike win.
John McGuinness then comes to the line. What an opening ride from McGuinness. He's let Archibald cross the line first. McGuinness knows he's got it won on that Yamaha. Well, what a result. That's the best result Yamaha have had all year so far.
And what a fantastic first race for John McGuinness. Lap record from a standing start and the race win.
Suzuki had dominated kind of prior to that, hadn't they? So,
well, yeah, that was big. Big Dave was winning, and Archie was winning one in 2003. And it was just a good bike. I remember it being a good bike. I got on it, and I just thought, this is lovely, this bike. You know, it was stable, it was fast. I felt confident. You know, every time I come in, I was a little bit quicker, and a little bit quicker on the next night. Then I brought DJ's lap record in practice at 127.68. So when the race come, I just got my head down and concentrated, and it all just come together for me. Yeah.
And a familiar scene in the pit lane. Hugs and congratulations for the winning rider, who will no doubt be delighted with this, even though his practice form indicated that this was his for the taking.
Another little special win was the 400. I think you're the last winner of a 400 TT.
Yeah, last singles winner, last 400 winner. Yeah, I won 2 400 TTs back to back for Ricky Leddy. You know, and again, like you said, you brought it up. You know, the Morris year it's part of the thing, but it's never really. It's always the big bike ones, isn't it, that come to the top. But they were good wins, you know. The electric bike wins are good wins. You know, Ricky Leddy was a bit eccentric sort of guy, you know. I just remember looking at the Motorcycle News or the results page going, who's doing the winning on the 400? So when this Ricky Leddy, RLR Honda just kept coming up, Steve Toombs, who rode it in the British Championship thing, I want that bike. So I spoke to him, I said, do you fancy doing TT? And he said, well, I do, you know. So he came, brought the bike, and yeah, we had a double win on him.
McGuinness, winner last year, setting out after the lap record perhaps. Jim Moody set that 20 minutes and 8 seconds back in 1993.
And, you know, there's 2 big silver ladies in my trophy cabinet that say 400 wins, so I'll take them.
And here's the man. Off the line goes John McGuinness, the quickest man around the TT course ever, bar none.
And you stayed with Yamaha for the next year?
Was it 5? Yeah.
5, yeah.
2005 was on the AIM Yamaha as well as the Flanagan. Yeah, did the double on those on the 2 Superbike wins again. Great.
And John McGuinness always a little bit wheel happy.
That was the first year of the Dunlop tyre connection. I've been with Dunlop for a lot of years. I'm a Dunlop ambassador as well now, so been helping developing the tyres. It was all Pirelli then, which were a great product at the time. I, went to Dunlop when we won the 2 Formula 1 and senior races. We were back to 6-lap races.
Well, here come the quick men. This is Jason Griffiths with John McGuinness going past him. How demoralising is that for Griffiths on the Yamaha to see another man on the same bike 10 seconds better than him already at Ballacrane.
I finished second in the 600. I had a big moment at Crosby actually on the super stock bike, and I pulled out of the race. It basically just scared me to death, and it brought back some bad memories because that's where we lost David. I just had a big, huge moment, and I put my foot down. It took the sole of my foot, shoe up, my boot off. I was like, it was just the closest she's ever going to come to having a huge one, and that was the end of that. Second super sport race, and bike dropped a valve going onto the mountain. But yeah, we had a good, still did a double. If you want to pick the 2 races you want to win, I won the 2 ones you'd want to win.
Picks up the front wheel of the Yamaha, carries it past Andy Fern with the checkered flag.
I won the senior and I'm on the podium spraying the champagne. Everything's fantastic. I get off the podium, the first person I speak to, oh, by the way, Gus got killed at Kurt Michael, So I was, just... I thought he was a great journalist. I thought I used so enjoy reading whatever he wrote for these magazines and stuff. And in a blink of an eye, he was gone, for no fault of his own. We know what happened, how, we'll never know. But I felt responsible for that, So I like to this day, I don't encourage anybody to do anything at the TT, Sad. It was a sad bit of time, to be honest, but what do you do?
At this point, though, I'm trying to find the right phrase, but you've become the man, really, at the TT. You're the man that's winning all the big bikes, etc. So, was there interest from elsewhere? Or Honda tapping you up while you were winning at Yamaha? Or how did the switch from Yamaha to Honda come about?
Well, I was at the Southern 100 in 2005, and Neil Tuxworth was there doing a parade lap. And I did my Honda deal, sat in a hire car in the Southern 100 car park. They just offered me a deal that I sort of couldn't refuse it, really. And it wasn't so much, the money's irrelevant. It was just the package, the test package. It was the whole thing for me. It was a year's salary, and I could do the full Superstock British Championship. Because in 04 and 5, 04 was a one-race deal with Yamaha. 05, I fell out with Alistair Flanagan for whatever reason. It all went pear-shaped. I rode for Vitran's Honda in the BSB, and it was a bit disjointed all over the place. In 2006, I got this full package: Superstock British Championship, TT, Northwest, Ulster Grand Prix, whatever. Job was a dream, and I took the deal.
Well, he's the man to beat.
He is definitely the man to beat, and he's trying to put Honda back on top of the podium. They haven't won a big bike race on the Isle of Man since the year 2000.
What I will say, as I've steered through all the years, there was never any fallouts for anybody with anybody I'd ever ridden for, and I always try and pride myself on that. I've never left a trail of destruction behind me. I rode for Yamaha, and I respect Yamaha and Andy Smith, who put the deal together for me. I never had a contract with Yamaha. I shook his hand, I shook the man's hand for the wages and whatever, and the bonus and all that lot. And he stood on everything. Looked him in the eye, and I could just trusted the man, and it was brilliant. 4 and 5, ace, And even when I won in 2006, he sent me a massive bottle of champagne. Congratulations for winning the TT on the Honda. I said to the missus, watch this tonight, I'm going to go and do 130. I'm just going to this will just...
McGuinness looking very comfortable indeed.
You came in with a bang in 2006.
6 was a treble, wasn't it? Yeah, they'd won both big bike races.
There he goes over the line, plus the outright lap record, the fastest average lap time on any road circuit anywhere in the world.
Close to, I think I broke that record again, 128 something, 128.9 or something in the senior.
And he's done it again. 17 minutes, 29 seconds.
Broke that record on the 600. I think I ran Eugene Laverty's bike, BSB bike. So yeah, no, the job was tearing along nicely in 2006.
I remember you telling me at the time that the track was like a short circuit because it didn't rain for the whole 2 weeks. And there's so much rubber being put down.
The rubber was down, yeah. I mean, that was the old windy corner, that was the old Brandish as well, so there's probably 10 seconds in the track now. It changed a little bit, didn't it? But it was good. I mean, that's when the track's at its best, you know, when everybody's safer as well, you know what I mean? They're getting to understand the bike, they're understanding the rubber, they're understanding the track cleaner, and yeah, the lap times go tearing up.
And being part of the hat-trick club as well. You know, you think of the guys, Joey, Hizzy, Halewood, etc., that just the handful, McCallan, that have, you know, to become part of the hat-trick club.
Did 2, yeah, did a track trick in 4 and 6, so yeah, there's, no, you know, I don't massively look at that. People bring it up and it's really special, but, you know, it's, yeah, it's great to be in that club, you know.
At that time, in 2006, getting those wins, edging nearer 130. Give me a little story on 130. I mean,
well, it was 07, wasn't it?
It was, but you were getting closer in 06, and people started talking about it, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, they do talk about it, don't they? And you read about it, and you know, it's like they want you to do it. You know, it's like 40,000 fans are sat on the bike with you. You know, and you want to do it, but I was never really a massive fan of lap records and stuff like that. If I did 135 mile out first lap and broke down the last lap, I get no prize money, I get no trophy, I don't get anything, I just get a pat on the back. You know, the speeds will always be there to be broken, but the wins were they're stamped in the book. But I probably got sucked into it a bit more than I should have done really, that 130 lap. I mean, practice was going really well in 07 and you know, boys were getting quicker, and I think I said to the missus, watch this tonight, I'm going to go and do 130. I'm just going to you know, this will just
her response?
Set the Isle of Man on fire, you know.
What did she say?
Well, to be honest, she just doesn't say much, to be honest. She'd be careful as usual what they say, but she's like, rolling her eyes and stuff, and said, look, you know, it's a perfect night tonight, I'm going to have a do at it, you know. And off the line, you know, and put that much effort into it. And I came in, what's the lap time? And she said 128 point whatever. And I went, you know, it was a disappointment, but that is one of the secrets that you can't teach around the Isle of Man. You know, sometimes you put all that effort in and you go backwards, you know. And when I did the 130 lap in the senior, without sounding cocky, it felt easy, you know. I did a strong first lap. I watched my pit board, I was chipping away. Lap 2 is always really, really important to try and break it, and I did. I'd come into the pits, did the 130, I heard the massive cheer, and I was like, whoa, you know, this is, something's happened here.
In comes John McGuinness. He's done it again. 130 miles an hour this time. It's 17:21 and he has cracked the 130.
Well, John McGuinness said at the start of the week it's going to go. Now, he is the man that's done it first. Can anyone go any faster? I very, very much doubt it, but look at him. How calm and cool is he?
And, like, the mechanics are not really wanting to say too much, just say, you know, visor in fuel and, you know, everything's going great, like. But the reaction all the way around the track was mega, you know, the waving the programmes and the you know, senior day. I think even all the locals, all the Manxes come out, don't they? And, you know, everybody was out on the track, and it was quite a special feeling.
So what are you focusing though? During you realise what you've done, but there's still a job to do. There is still actually a bigger picture.
Still 151 miles to go after 2 laps. Still a pit stop to do. Anything go wrong?
And was it hard?
Got to finish. Yeah, it is. It does. I mean, it's funny, you're switching off and you're going, oh, you know, I've got this in the bag, oh, I'll concentrate again, or you're thinking, is that a noise? You're looking at the temperature gauge and all that, but, you know, at the time I was doing strong 1 and 2 laps, and at the time nobody could sort of match that, so it was like, right, I'll just do the same thing, try and break on the first couple of laps. I was always strong to the first pit, you know, first signalling board, and you know, but then it's not easy, but it is a little bit easier when if you're feeding 20 plus 25. If you're in second place and it's so demoralising to read minus 25, you can't pull it back unless something goes wrong in the pits. So you can still got to be strong lap 3, lap 4, and then once you've got your second pit stop done, then you can sort of semi-relax a little bit. But again, still 2 laps and it goes wrong, you're still shifting along. But it's weird, you know, you still do a really strong last lap and you're just flowing, and you're enjoying it, you know. You don't really enjoy it when you've got your teeth in the yokes trying to do the fastest laps, but when you just sat cruising towards the end, it's pretty special.
By this time, okay, you're racking up the wins.
Got 10 years to go yet, James.
You're racking up the wins, but in terms of the way that you ride the course, does that change? Because all of a sudden, do you find yourself braking, or when you were accelerating beforehand, or is there any?
Well, again, you know, things changed in 2008. The new model Fairblade came out, and the lap times were slower than the year before. Nobody did 130 mile an hour lap. I won the senior 129 point something.
McGuinness is really on it.
Me and Cameron Donald were at it wheel to wheel, and it was the first time I've seen on my pit board plus 0.8, plus 0.7, minus 0.5. Points, not seconds, points this. I'm like, what have I got to do here? You know, I'm digging deeper and deeper here.
There he is, coming into Ramsey, your new race leader by a second from Cameron Donald. Guy Martin's up to third, he's 0.9 of a second behind that.
Cameron busted his engine somehow, he started leaking oil, and he let me off the hook. But that bike was hard to ride. That was the early stages of the new bike, so we were learning with the new bike. And tough. I was puffing and panting in that race. You know, I had nothing left. Later on in your questions, it's probably where the job changed a little bit. You know, the braking and the more aggressive sort of riding comes in a little bit. You know, them days you were a bit. You know, you could be, oh, don't crash a bridge. You know, you got to be cautious into here, and you know, and get on the gas and be careful. But now it's full scratch mode.
Joey Dunlop, 26 wins. Mike Hailwood, 14 wins for a long time, and then you equalled that.
Yeah, equalled Hailwood, didn't I, in 2008? Yeah, that was mint now.
Down through the nook then towards Governors. He will win his 14th TT and equal Mike Hailwood's 14 tally, and that will make him a very proud man indeed.
Well, he said before this race began that he didn't really want to equal Mike Hailwood. That is John McGuinness all over, isn't it? But he's just about to do that. John McGuinness, Mike Hailwood, only Joey Dunlop ahead of them.
There's always something when you go in that winner's enclosure that's special. 2007 was special because Murray Walker was in tears. He said, I never thought I'd ever witness the 130 lap. He said, I witnessed the 80 mile an hour, 90, I mean, when was he born? 1920s. So he's witnessed so much stuff. For him to witness that he was just in bits. I thought, wow, that's great. And my dad was there and all the important people.
50 years after Bob Mack.
Yeah, you know, yeah, John Mack, Bob Mack, you know, 100 mile an hour, 130, milestone, sun was shining, centenary year, just couldn't have got any better. 2008, I thought, God, I wish Mike Hailwood was here. I'd love to have had a bit of banter with Hailwood, you know. You know, I met Joey, I've met Hizzy, I've met DJ, you know, all the top guys, and worked with them, to be fair, but Hailwood never met him, so you read the stories, you get told the stories off your parents and your friends and stuff, but it would have been really cool for just him to be there somehow. Just to sort of half apologise and see what his thoughts on it were.
And then the next year, you beat him, 15 wins.
Yeah, 2009 was good. You know, kicking the goalies was the chain snapping in the senior, you know. It was tough, 2009, you know. Plater was on the scene, shoving us along a little bit, you know. Having a little bit of a sniff at my title, and there's no way he was going to beat me. But again, I respect Steve, you know, Christ, you know, he's such a... I don't know, he's one of the most determined people. I worked with him in World Endurance, and, you know, he's a double TT winner, and you can't take that away from him. He won a senior, and he's been around at 130, and I still think the silly old sod owns one of the sectors is still the fastest he did that year up going up the mountain, which is incredible, you know. Nearly 10 years has gone by since nobody's beat that, so... But yeah, I was sticking it into him in the senior and the chain snap, so that was... I was really mad for a bit.
John McGuinness is out of the lead, that huge lead he had there. I won't believe that. He smashes the tank, and so he would. I think the chain's off.
It's either chain off or gear lever or something. There's something fairly major wrong with that H-implant Honda.
So it's going to have a dented tank now, we know that.
Really mad. Somebody said, oh, somebody's having a worse day than you. I said, you know what, you're right. Somebody gave me a big cheese butty and a can of Stella. And so I just got into this can of Stella and a big butty, and time to make a boys come for me. I was half cut, but yeah, it frustrated me because I love riding the place, and it was over, you know, the TT was done with the snap chain. I thought, bloody hell, you know, I was really enjoying that race, you know. I like it. I don't understand it. It's just magic to me. A motorbike's not running, and you just go up to it and ride off on it. I just don't get it.
Imagine a place shrouded by mystery, a sea-bound kingdom with a rich history that echoes through the ages, a melting pot of character and taste where true heroes exist and sea monsters bask in the shallows. Landscapes carved from pure imagination and magical vistas of the seven kingdoms, a world of tangled trees and twisty trails, a place where legends are Manx made. Isle of Man, the extraordinary story.
What's the camaraderie like then with the other riders sometimes? Can it be good? Yeah.
I like to try and make it good. Whether people like me or what, I don't know. You know, I like them. You know, I liked all my teammates, and for different reasons. You know, they've all been different characters, different ages, different personalities.
Ever anything that you can pick up off them to make John McGuinness a better rider, or is it John McGuinness? Is John McGuinness?
I'll learn a bit maybe. It's hard to know it because you carve your own career, you carve your own styles, you know, they're all different, you know. Michael Rutter was a different style to me, you know. Howard Dunlop as a teammate in 13, you know, just feisty, aggressive, supernatural, but different, you know.
Now then, into Parliament Square. Oh,
that's snaking it in there.
He's trying.
Wanted to kill dead things with Michael all the time, but I super enjoyed his company. You know, I saw a different side to him. You know, but you pick a bit off here and a bit there, and you know what gear you're going in there and stuff like that. And maybe you'd learn something. But I was probably always the senior rider from everybody. I was the one that was just probably a little bit ahead of them. But that was good. It was good. Yeah, 09 with a plate a year, 10. You know, I broke down in both races, which was, you know, Hutchie went through the cards, 5 wins, amazing. You know, cannot take anything away from.
But they're all tight wins as well, weren't they?
If you look today at the 600 wins, and his Superstock win was stunning. The Superstock win was magnificent. He did 130.8 on the 600 on 1,000 Honda. It was unreal.
Blast up to the finishing line, front wheel up into the air. The Paget Honda is absolutely got those cables stretched over the line.
And it's under the radar because it's all the big bikes. But that Stocker win, he dug deep, you know. And the 600s, he did 127s, whatever. But he was behind when I think Guy was away in one of the races, and he come back, and you know, because of his physical ability and just sheer determination, to win. You know, the superbike races, that guy crashed, I broke down, Connor was away in the first race and his clutch broke or whatever, and for whatever reason, you know, you still got to win them, but his other 3 wins were fantastic, you know, again, really good, and, you know, I had a shocker.
But around that time for you as well, one thing that had eluded you was a Superstock win. How come that took so long coming along?
You know what, I don't know. I used to ride British Championship. I used to be pretty strong on my stock. I finished 3rd in the British Superstock Championship in 2009. I was leading the 2009 Superstock TT on Clive's bike and had a rear tyre sort of not come apart, but it was full of air bubbles, this tyre, and it just got overheating and I had a load of problems. I finished 5th in it. And I had about a 5-second lead at the start and it all started going wrong, you know. Again, sounds like the excuse book's out, but yeah, I probably should have won one, but for whatever reason, I didn't. You know, Hutch's pace on the Stocker was incredible. You know, Brian Farquhar was riding really good on the Stockers at the time. I just had a bit of a mental block with him. I thought, oh, what's going on? I couldn't, struggling. Podiums and bits and bobs and knocking on the door, but even when I won it, it wasn't a really fast race. I don't think it was a memorable race. It was great and it was a win, but it wasn't a good pace. You know, it was a slower pace. It was 2012, but I'll take it.
In 11, after Ian Hutchinson had done what he'd done, I mean, what was your approach?
Well, after 2010, I was like, maybe it's the end for me, you know, maybe just it's someone's trying to tell me, you know, 2 breakdowns and hang on a minute, John, you've had your time and all that, but I thought, you know what, when I'm in a good place, I was always fast, and, you know, the TT senior win, again, was a good, strong race for me, because Guy had an 11-second lead at the start of the race, and I was like, geez, he's gone, guys, I'm going to have to dig deep here. But we knew we would gain a little bit in the pits, and I didn't panic too much, and then whether Guy lost a bit of concentration, you know, there's always a question mark over where Guy's going after 4 or 5 laps, and I just came strong. And again, the one thing I do remember about that is he was the first man to congratulate me, you know. He come and give me a hug after the race and said a few things I won't repeat. But he was, that was nice, it was nice to get that. 12 again, you know. Won the Formula 1 race, lost the first superbike, and the senior was cancelled for the first time in ever. You know, I was frustrated about that because I was in a good place, you know, my blade was working good, I was riding well again. And we finished 4th in the World Championship in 2012, a real good strong in World Endurance, we was really, you know, riding well at the TT, and then, you know, we didn't get the win, but we won, did the double, so the Stocker and the superbike race.
Getting a bike ready for the TT, because the circuit is so different to what you would have on a short circuit, massively different?
The TT bike now is very similar to a BSB bike, because you're riding it nearly as hard as a BSB race to win, you know. So yeah, gone were the days where you could sort of put a little bit of a swing arm in the back of it and a fork kit and whatever, and a bit of a tank. It's, you know, you need the right gear.
We've mentioned 13 and 15, and then
16 was good for me. I enjoyed 16. A lot of people finished 3rd. I'll tell you what, I rode well. You know, I finished behind them 2 boys on the BMs. The Honda was long in the tooth. It was the same bike. It was just, you know, a bit like Trigger's Broom. You know, we're sticking a new engine in it and doing what we're doing, but there was nothing else we could do because all we had, you know, we could only pee with the that we had. You know what I mean? So I did 132.7 or something on the bike. I finished on the podium. Them 2 were at each other on the winners in the press conference, and I was just sat there with a bottle of Corona. I was just chuffed to bits, and I was on the podium, and I'd gone as fast as I think that we could have got out of what we had, you know. So 16 was good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the riding in 600. The weather was mint, you know. All fortnight was everybody was in t-shirts and shorts, and the track was mint, and the lap record was getting smashed. But you know, I wasn't right at the front. There's no way anybody could have gone any quicker on that bike, and that sound like a smart bugger, but I felt like I got the best out of what I had, and that's all I can ever do.
TT0, were you a doubter who was converted, or?
TT0 for me, the journey's been fantastic. I've really, really enjoyed the moment they came to me and asked me to ride that Mugen in 2012, you know. They'd gone from 102 to 119 point whatever, and I broke that record in 14, is it? 14 or 15? It's been a couple of sketchy years, last couple of years. One thing or another, mine switched itself off, and there was a little issue last year, 17, but you know, the lap record's, I think, stunning, isn't it? It's a quarter of a tonne. Well, it's 260 kilos, and it's got my fat ass on it, you know, to go around there from a standing start at that speed. I think it's amazing, you know, I think it really, really is, and whether you like it or you don't, you've got to try and, you know, accept it, that could be the future. It's a long way away, I think.
John McGuinness at Glen Ellen had a slight advantage over his teammate, about 2 seconds there.
I like it. I don't understand it. It's just magic to me. Just a motorbike's not running and you just go up to it and ride off on it. I just don't get it. But the generation below me are all over it. And just let the Japanese people explain what kilowatts are and all the rest of the stuff. But it's got me 2 wins. Probably should have had a couple more, but not to worry. Was another chance.
26 is the number, 23 is where you're at now. Give us the definitive John McGuinness take on the 26 wins.
I never think about the 26 wins until you remind me about it. And I go, oh, it'd be nice, wouldn't it? It would be just, you know, for everything we've done in racing, I think that would be the ultimate icing on the cake for me. But would I stop? I don't know. That's the question. Would I try and go for another one? Would be amazing to be the best ever rider around the Isle of Man. It would be lovely to equal him because Joey was my hero. If I got any more, I wouldn't be able to step foot in Ireland ever again. They'd hang me, wouldn't they? They'd string me up, but I don't know. I never thought I'd ever win 23. You know, when I started out, going back to the start of the conversation, when I'm going across my van, I never had anything, you know. I owned a van and that was it. I had nothing. With this big dream of winning races at the TT, I could have never dreamed of being sat here now with 23. So they've been a bonus, they're amazing, they're fantastic. If I never win another one ever again, it doesn't matter. You know, if I win 26, it'd be amazing, it'd just be amazing, you know. But if somebody said to me, give me a pack of cards and said, you're going to win 6 TTs, or you'd just take them, wouldn't you? I don't know. So win 23 is just...
Well, John, you've shared some fantastic information with us today. Thank you so much for your time. And we really look forward to seeing you back on a bike very, very soon.
Unbelievable. Can he make it 24 TT victories in 2021? I guess only time will tell, but amazing feat nonetheless. That's it for another TT lock-in. Coming up tomorrow,
Fogarty's hanging on to a tiny lead.
We have, in my eyes, probably the greatest TT racers ever. It was the Hislop and Fogarty battle. And Carl will be one of our guests, joined alongside Rob McElhenney in the TT Lock-In Live. And don't forget, if you want to stay abreast of all the TT news, head over to iomttracers.com and subscribe to their newsletter. So thanks for watching another episode of the TT Lock-In, fueled by Monster Energy. See you tomorrow.